Why hello there, Nice Tail here. I hope this video finds you well. I'm bringing you a review of this Twosun knife today. I've had it on the channel, but I've never done a review on it, and I think this one deserves it, honestly. This is one of the better Twosuns I think possibly they've ever done. It's definitely one of my favorites, and it's a great knife. This is the Twosun 223, a Jelly Jerry design. I believe I might have mentioned it and called it the 233 last time, but it's the 223. Not that that really matters. Let's just get into specs, and we will then move on to talking about this knife a little bit more as usual. You've got 3 5/8 of blade, 3.5 cutting edge, 8 and not quite 3/8. No, hold on. Not quite 8 3/8, a little over 8 1/4 long. It's not huge, but it's not small either. We will compare it to our resident comparisons, being Elementum and Conspirator, both by Civivi, for the small and full-size comparisons. And as you can see, yeah, this thing is actually a bit bigger than the Conspirator. It's got a little bit more blade and a little bit more handle. Yet it still manages to come under that, 8 1/4-ish overall. It's pretty surprisingly good ratios, and it's not bad, right? It's just, yeah, it is what it is. It is thick. Let's do a comparison there. It is a bit thicker than the Conspirator, but it is fully contoured. That isn't worth noting. And pretty thick titanium slabs up there. The final comparison is grip length comparison to 2 AA batteries. And honestly, yeah, I'm going to call that 2 AA batteries. You can definitely get in there, and even if your hands are really big and you have to go over the edge a little bit, you probably can without too much trouble getting 4 fingers on there. Don't think it's going to be an issue. Always like to see that. Always had that preference when it comes to my own knives. This is my own knife. I bought this, as with all of the knives on this channel. Mine is like 1 or 2 that have been sent in and sent back or given away and stuff. 4.74 ounces. It's a little bit heavy. There's no internal milling, but the external scales are carbon fiber, so I suppose it could be a little bit heavier than you want. It's certainly not 1 ounce an inch, but I don't think that's any problem whatsoever for me. Hardware check. I believe this is, yeah, that's a T8. T8 pivot, scales, pocket clip, which is not reversible. It is, in fact, inset. I don't recollect. No, why would there be any more screws under there? I don't know what I'm thinking. Those are the screws. It's T8 all around. Love seeing that. Why wouldn't we? That just makes everything better. And it's a smart design that a lot of companies don't do. Twosun doesn't always consistently do it. But they did here, so credit where credit is due. Yeah, 587 thousandths of an inch, so over half an inch, bit thicker than the Conspirator. Blade stock, a robust 158 thousandths. I don't know what they were going for there, but it is what it is. However, despite the robust 158 thousandths, it is a good medium thickness behind the edge at... Really? It's 12 thousandths behind the edge? 11 to 12 thousandths behind the edge? I'm continuously slipping up on the blade, but yeah, 11-ish thousandths behind the edge. I really thought that was going to be thicker. I don't think I've ever measured this one before. It comes down to very thin. Like, it's going to get a little bit thicker fast just because the thick blade stock, but 11 thousandths behind the edge, full flat grind. I knew it cut, but yeah, it cuts really well. It does. It's got a good edge on it. Came with a decent edge on it. Good access to the tip. Yeah, this geometry is This is how you do this geometry. Let's be honest. If you want a big, thick, robust blade, 160th thousandths, 150th thousandths, thousandths, thousandth, just have it drop down. It can be robust while still being this. I mean, it does make it get thick always a little bit faster, so you are cutting out some of the potential life, maybe, if you're going for pure slicing, but if you need a stronger blade, this is a great option. And that will be the end of our specs section. So let's move on. I've already shown it, but it's an M390 blade steel. Good corrosion resistance, really good edge retention. It's coming out of China and Twosun, and I mean, even if it's not coming out of China, let's be honest, most companies aren't doing M390 at the 61 to 63 that we really want to see. Sometimes you'll see 60 to 62, maybe. This might be 59 to 61, something. Any of those are within typical things of the industry, even if they're not the optimal, ideal 62 that we want this thing at, or even 63. But it's not probably going to be too bad or outside the norm, and maybe that little bit of softness will help with the robustness. But I don't like doing that with M390, especially because you lose a lot more when you're not getting up to higher numbers than you gain in toughness. But it is what it is. It's certainly not an outlier here. It's not like they've completely missed the mark. I'm willing to bet on that. Drop point blade, good tip access, great flat grind for great performance all around. I do wish, of course, that they've had a little bit less branding on here. I mean, Jelly Jerry's logo, name, the name of the knife, the steel doesn't need to all be there. They could probably just put the logo and the M390 right there and called it a day. Twosun logo it's there. It's fine, whatever. It's better than having the entire pivot have writing around it. I don't like when Twosun does that, so I'll take this over that any day. The plunge grind is absolutely amazing. It's way up here. Fantastic. They've given you basically endless life on this knife. Once you get up there, you pretty much have gotten well worth your money's out of this. Blah, blah, wow, I'm having trouble. The blade is got a pretty reflective and pretty attractive satin. Doesn't pick up well on the camera, I will admit that, but it is there. The stop pins are attached to the blade and garaged, which, yes, that's wonderful. The flipper tab is really, really, really good. Like, they hit the angles on this thing perfect. It's just right. It's not sharp. This is a great flipper tab for any kind of deployment that you want to do. Even the push button works, and it's super comfortable. This is great. It is running on bearings. It is a titanium bolster lock with carbon fiber scales. The titanium has been micro milled very nicely. It does actually add texture. It's not just for appearance there. Not a lot. It's not like grip, but you can feel it. It's really nice. Titanium backspacer. A lock bar insert, which is great to see. Big screws there. Those are the only T6s, I think, on the knife. Yet they are rather large, and honestly, even though you probably will never have to interact with them, they're really tooled deeply. That's a good T6. Carbon fiber is decent quality. It's pretty average quality. It's not super high quality carbon fiber. It's not the top end stuff. It's not like polished or anything like that. It's just sort of milled out and done some of the bare minimum to get it to being there. The actual titanium, on the other hand, is nicely chamfered and rounded and softened and really, really well executed. The pocket clip is a milled clip. I do kind of wish it was a little bit more of a continuous rise than having this little bit of a build that it does have, but it works. It's got great flex and good retention. So I've not any issues with this, even though this is typically not a kind of clip that I love to see or it often causes problems. Not the case here. I suppose if you have really thick pants, it could be a little bit taller to accommodate them, but for the most part, most times, you're fine. As I also mentioned, it is inset, so there's only one screw, which is fine because it doesn't move. There is, again, no real milling on the inside. Well, actually, there is technically a tiny bit of milling on the inside. You can see it right there. There's a pocket right opposite the lock bar. I don't know why, but it is there. Lock bar access, despite not being particularly cut back or anything like that, they've given you a nice chamfer here. They've bowled out both sides of the lock bar. And you can definitely get this on the side. Now, there is one downside. Well, there's, I guess, what? 2 downsides to this knife that I can honestly... Three. I'll be tough on it. Let's go 3. Even though I really like this knife, the branding's a downside. The lock bar, this is, I guess, not really a downside, but whatever. We're there now. Basically, where they cut out the lock bar access, if you go right there to disengage, it doesn't drop. Because there's a, Twosun likes their detent ramps on their knives. And this one's got one, and it won't pass that. Now, if you go to the bottom of where they bolt out, right about there, you can get past it no problem. It takes a little tiny bit of getting used to. I guess I can't call it a problem. It's just like, maybe for someone it'll be a little bit of an annoyance for a little bit, but unless you're doing it like this, you're going to have to go a little bit lower because of that detent ramp. And the only last problem, I'm being very, very hard on this knife, I'll be honest, is the lack of chamfer around the carbon fiber. You have a nice, softened titanium chamfer right here. You do not have it on the carbon fiber. It is much more severe angles. So it does feel a little bit angular and a little bit, more severe in the hand, in the back end. That said, it's still pretty darn ultra comfortable. The clip is wonderfully, almost disappearing completely. These lines actually do feel like they provide some tactile and textural presence that really actually helps it in the hand and get it indexed. It's just a tiniest bit blockier than it could be if we wanted to go for like perfect knife status. This is really close and really, really, really good for Twosun. And at the around $100, I think it was a little less than that I got this knife for, I'm not complaining whatsoever. I mean, look at the action, too. There's no play. It's perfectly centered. This is one of the best knives Twosun has done to this day. And yeah, this thing is just great. It honestly is. It's definitely worth checking out. I know you can usually get them on White Mountain Knives. Well, not usually, but you can sometimes get them on White Mountain Knives with their Twosun, whatever they have in stock from Twosun. But you'll be paying like full price. You can also go onto eBay and find Twosun knives from consistently going up under a seller, D-Win or something like that. That is the official Twosun, basically. That's how Twosun sells their knives, and you can bid on them. This one, of course, you may or may not get for under $100, but honestly, this is easily a $150 plus knife. Would be more than that from any other company. It's top-notch. Top-notch from Twosun. That'll be done for the entirety of my review here. Hope you enjoyed. Consider leaving a comment, liking, subscribing, hitting the bell. Doesn't cost you anything. Greatly helps me. And I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.